Goed dat je luistert naar een nieuwe aflevering van Paul de Vries vanuit de podcaststudio in Ede met de missie de online automotive beter te maken. Dit doet Paul met de volgende partners met dezelfde missie. Marktplaats, Goldrip, Carmen Automotive BDC, Used Car Controller, Vinnacles en tweedehands.be.
Welkom allemaal bij een nieuwe aflevering van onze podcast met de missie de online automotive beter maken. En vandaag gaan we dat doen met een Amerikaanse gast, Jasen, waar ik al een paar presentaties van heb mogen meemaken in Amerika. En Jasen komt zelfs naar Nederland naar de komende DCDW in 2024. Komt hij langs om te vertellen over zijn business, over zijn visie voornamelijk, over de doorlooptijd van gebruikte auto's. Jasen, happy that you are finally here in our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate it.
Sure. Hey, and can you tell our folks just a little bit about you, how you started in the automotive business and what you are doing?
Well, it's funny. I was a waiter at a restaurant in 1997, and one of the girls there said her boyfriend just got a job selling cars, and I asked her if he went to school for that, and he said no. So he just answered an ad in the paper. So I looked in the newspaper, and there was an ad to make $50,000 to $80,000, and I applied to that and got a job. So that's how I stumbled in the car business. I didn't do good at school, so evidently that stuck with me. I wanted to be a professional, and that was the way I saw it. I had a business card and a suit, so it made me feel important. But that's how I started.
Jason, I just lost you still.
Oh no. Are you back on?
I don't know. Is your Wi-Fi good?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we do meetings all the time. Let me connect to another. There we go. Is this one any better? We'll see if this one works better. You're frozen. There we go. I'm on.
Yeah.
Does that one look better?
I hope so. We are going to start over. Yes?
Perfect. Sorry. Yep.
No problem. Hey, welkom allemaal bij een nieuwe aflevering van onze podcast met de missie de online automotive beter maken. En vandaag gaan we dat doen met Jasen, oprichter van Lotpop. En daar heb ik een aantal presentaties al van meegemaakt over de velocity, oftewel de omloopsnelheid van gebruikte auto's. Daar heeft hij een hele boeken over geschreven, maar ook een heel mooi software systeem opgebouwd. Hoe je dat beter in de gaten kan houden. En Jasen is ook onze keynote spreker op ons DCDW-event in 2024. Jasen, happy that you are finally here.
Thank you. Thank you, and it's a blessing. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. And can you tell us more about you, how you started in the car business?
Yeah, it was back in 1997. I was actually waiting tables at a restaurant, and one of the servers there said her boyfriend just got a job selling cars. And, I was naive. I thought, did he go to school? I asked her that. Did he go to school to sell cars? And she said, no, he just answered an ad in the paper. And so I found an ad and went and interviewed and got the job, and I've been around ever since. So it's been a blessing for me. I love this industry. Yeah.
And what is your current role?
Well, right now, we started Lotpop. I started Lotpop 10 years ago. So, I'm the owner or president of Lotpop. In 97 is weird. I didn't like standing out on the parking lot waiting for customers. So I would always try to be inside getting phone calls. And back in 1998, they said, hey, we want to try this internet thing. You like being on the phones? Do you want to handle internet leads? So my 8-year career on selling cars was selling cars off the internet or internet director or, managing a large dealer group. And then I met Dale Pollock in 2005. He created a tool here in the States called Vauto, and that helped dealerships manage used car inventory and price it according to market data. And I spent 8 years traveling the States, helping dealerships with used car operations. And that company is one of the most prominent companies in the industry here, and really changed the way how people managed inventory. So my 8 years experience of lead management, my 8 years experience with used car operations, I walked away 10 years ago with this idea of being able to because those both things are process oriented. You got to have somebody creating a good process, but also maintaining and making sure that process is being followed, both with used car operation and lead management. And a lot of dealers struggle with that. They know what they need to do, but consistently doing it time and time again. So that's when I started this company 10 years ago, knowing I can help dealers on both lead management and inventory management and be that consultant, their second set of eyes. And the software we have now is only 2 years old. I took 7 years of data, putting them into Google Sheets and Excel sheets and slicing and dicing that data and helping dealerships grow. And then we converted it to the software that we have now.
So the Lotpop, the lot means the outside showroom, I think, the parking lot or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, here, we talk about the lot on a physical lot, our cars and our customers, but there's also that virtual lot, how are your cars displayed online? How are your photos and descriptions? And then the virtual leads that come in, the customers that are on your virtual lot looking at that car and submitting information. Are you meeting and greeting them? Are you following up with them? Are you earning their business? So there's that virtual lot that we mostly focus on.
Yeah, and so you were telling about your Google Sheets, your Excel spreadsheet, and you combine it to something. But what is that something then? What kind of tool software did you develop which helps dealers sell faster?
Yeah, so you typically have a used car manager and looking at their used car inventory. Again, we have over here inventory tools that allow you to price cars effectively and get wholesale values and book values. And so the used car managers managing cars in one system. And then over here, we got a CRM where our customers are coming into, our leads are coming into a CRM. And we typically have a salesperson or business development person calling and emailing customers in the CRM. Now, the tricky part is, every day physically, we show up to our dealership, making sure our cars are pretty and that the lot looks good and customers are being meet and greeted. But this virtual lot is two different silos. There's a CRM over here that doesn't talk cars. And then there's an inventory tool over here that doesn't talk customers. And so we've combined those two worlds. So example would be, let's say, intermediate cars. So here we have compact cars, intermediate cars, luxury, large car, luxury cars. Let's say your intermediate cars are sitting on your lot. They're not selling. They're getting older and older and depreciating. Well, instead of just going in and dropping pricing, maybe we should call and email every lead we have on intermediate cars to get that sale rate back up. But the CRM doesn't function like that. You can't go into your CRM and say, give me intermediate car leads. It's very tricky. So that's what we've combined is be able to do that. You have a problem here. Maybe it's in 2020s or maybe it's in $30,000 to $35,000 vehicles. Once we isolate that problem, we want to find the car that's causing that problem, but also find out if it's a pricing problem or a people problem. People problem being one, maybe I don't have any people on that car, no leads, or my people, we do have leads, we do have people on that car, but my people aren't following up with those car leads. So that's kind of what we've exposed for and put those two worlds together.
So if you're talking about that segmented, the cars, etc. So when a lead is coming in, you actually also segmented it by car trade. So if you have 100 leads for SUVs, for example, that you can email them with an email blast or something about people only interested in SUVs instead of only about Kia Sorentos or something.
Correct. And so, and we don't replace the CRM. I still want them to communicate there. We're just finding those problems in our tool and pointing to that customer so they can go in the CRM and call and email. Yeah, I mean, we slice and dice it from what years, 2020s versus 2021s and 2022s, and those leads or price point $30,000 to $35,000 or compact SUVs, and those leads, and we combine that data up again to focus what's happening on your virtual lot. Where's your problems? And it's really helped dealers save time too, because what we found was about on average 60% of their current leads they have can't buy the car they're interested in anymore. So a customer submits a lead on a vehicle, let's say a 2020 Honda Accord, and and a week later that Honda Accord sells. So do I give up on that customer because the car they wanted is no longer in stock? Or do we see if there's other vehicles, similar vehicles in stock? A Honda Accord here would be an intermediate car. And let's say that was priced at 25 grand. Well, do we have any other intermediate cars around 25 grand that I can introduce to this customer and see if they'll switch from a Honda Accord to a Toyota Camry or a Ford Focus? So that's the other thing we've been able to do is help recycle those leads. Don't give up on them. See if there's other cars. Because if a customer came in the showroom floor into our physical lot and said, hey, I'm here on this car, but it sold yesterday, we wouldn't just tell them, hey, it's sold and turn around and walk away.
No, but it's I'm getting a headache and immediately headache what you're telling me, because it is so obvious that you are doing that, but nobody is doing it.
Yeah, that's the problem we solved. And again, that's why I brought my background. It's like 20 something years of leads and inventory. No one's put these two worlds together, and we have, and it's a different approach, and it should be.
No, but I'm also the ambassador of Marktplaats, right? And Marktplaats is one of the biggest car portal in the Netherlands. And the most popular cars are the Volkswagen Polo, for example, a small car. And if you have one of those cars on stock, you're getting 15 leads and you are selling it once, right? So you have 14 leads without any car. But if you're selling Kias, for example, you have something similar. It's not a Volkswagen, but similar than a Polo. And you can try at least, because you have the name and the number, you can email them, you can call them, you can talk to them. Maybe because if they don't think about the Kia, they will never buy the Kia. If you're going to talk about the Kia, maybe they are going to think about the Kia. And of those 14, one will buy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And you already paid, like you said, you know their name, you know their price point, because I think customers are going to be budget loyal, right? They have a certain amount they want to spend each month, or if they're writing a check, and you know the class of vehicle they wanted. And so why not see, did you just want that vehicle, or are you open to others around $20,000? If you are, here's similars. And again, we would do that if they're sitting in our showroom floor and they're sitting here on the other side of my desk. I would say, hold on, I got an idea. Let me show you something. And we would pull that car up and say,
it's like similar when you are shopping on Amazon. You don't pull the trigger yet on a product and you see the suggested alternatives below. That's actually the same thing, right?
Yes. And so we doing that. And then the other thing that was mind-blowing for us that I've never realized until I did this was two things. One, half of my leads, so let's say I have 100 of them, and let's equate a lead to an activity. If I get a lead, I'm going to call or email or text them, right? So if half of my leads
in that order as well.
Well, I mean, a lot, it depends. I mean, obviously you have to, here in the States, you have to get the okay to text somebody. You can't just text them without their permission and stuff. But depending how they communicate with you, if they text you first, you could text back and have no problem. But half my leads, if I have 100 of them, 50 of them are on only 10% of your inventory. So here it's pretty common for a dealer to have 100 cars on their lot. So only 10 cars get half my leads, which means if I did 100 phone calls and emails today, half of those are only going to be done on 10 cars. Okay. So the other half of my activity is spread out, hopefully, against the other 90 cars. Now that's one scenario we found. The second scenario is half your inventory doesn't have leads. So our sales team, or here we'll have BDC departments. They don't work on a car until they get a lead, meaning they're not helping you sell that car unless they get a lead on it. So here's what was the problem. As an inventory manager, I have an example of a 60-day-old Volvo that has 19 leads on it. As an inventory manager, I'm not worried about that car because I don't have to change the price. It has 19 leads.
It will.
Guess what? There's going to be 19 calls and emails on that car. So in the same time, I have a 60-day-old Ford Focus, or Ford Escape, 60 days old, and I'm losing money. But guess what? I have no leads on it. So which car needs the most help as an inventory manager? The car with 19 leads or the car with no leads? Well,
Yeah.
I need help on this one with no leads. The problem
Yeah.
is my team, whoever's handling it, salespeople or BDC department, they're not helping me on that car because they have no leads. And that's where those switch leads come into place. Do I have other active leads looking for a compact SUV at that price point? And in our example, they did. They had 30 active leads looking for a compact SUV around 22 grand. So that's where I need energy done.
So on the other hand, is every survey will show you that people want options. And if they don't find an alternative option at your dealership, then they are going to find somewhere else. So you can better have to make your own alternative option for them, because they can buy that Ford Escape somewhere else. And then you say, I got the same car for a better price, but you never offered them. Right?
Correct. Yep. And that's the problem. Again, I don't know your CRM's there, but again, our systems over here, you can't say, give me my leads on that are looking for $20,000 to $25,000 cars, or give me the leads looking for intermediate SUV around $20,000 to $25,000.
No.
That's impossible. It's very hard to do that in their system, but that's again but you should. And because what we've always, from the beginning, back in 1998, we always manage leads based on the age of the lead. When it's a fresh lead, we get all excited and we call and email all the time. But by the time the lead's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks old, we stop following up as much and it spreads it out. But the problem is, what we found here is customers are taking longer to buy cars. And so why do we follow up based on the age of the lead? It's irrelevant to where they might be in their buying cycle. I don't know if they're 2 days out or 2 months out. They might be just doing research right now and they're waiting until their lease is up or until they're ready to buy something 2 months from now. But by 2 months from now, I don't reach out to them. And so that's where I found the problem was why are we managing the leads based on the age when it's irrelevant to their buying cycle and it's irrelevant to issues on my lot? I have a problem with compact cars and my compact cars aren't selling. I should call and email my compact car leads every day, every other day. I don't care if it's a 2-day-old lead or a 50-day-old lead. I need these cars gone. So let's increase the contact ratio on my problems. Again, going back to my virtual lot, these aren't selling. I got leads. Let's get the leads worked and not manage on the age of the lead. So that's the mind shift that we have to do in the industry because we've done this way for 25 years.
Yeah,
I'm saying it's wrong. You can't.
Yeah. No, it's like making pictures of the used cars with the nose to the left when every copy or every price stays on the right on the portals, which indicate that the car is looking the wrong side. But everybody does this, so it should be normal.
Yep.
Well, on the other hand, you had wrote a book.
Yes.
And I get that book as a present of you the last NEDA. And I read it now 3 times. And I listened to your podcast, but in your podcast you are talking very fast. The Lotpop or the Lot Party.
Yep.
And sometimes I understand it and sometimes I didn't, because you are talking a lot about buckets and the aging in the buckets and the problem in the buckets, and that you need a healthy bucket system. Can you emphasize on that one more?
Yeah, matter of fact, here's one of those books. Work the Facts. You can go workthefacts.com. But so what we mean by buckets, and now you could break buckets up into tons of things, but what I mostly talk about is age buckets, the age of the cars.
Yeah.
So we tend to break it up in 2-week chunks. So 0 to 15-day-old cars, 16 to 31-day-old cars, 31 to 45-day-old cars, and so forth. We typically go 46 to 60, and then anything over 60 days old. Now, sometimes, and I understand, and where you guys are, you might keep cars longer. You could chunk it out to 90 or 120 days, however you want to approach it. 30-day buckets, whatever way you want to approach it.
But Jason, on that fact alone, the interest rate is here also high rocketing, right? So when Brian Benstock was here the last time, we had a big discussion with a big dealer which was very happy with his used car velocity, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And I think I'm the only guy in the world who's only saw Brian Benstock almost passed out when he saw the turn was 90 days. He thought they were almost bankrupt.
Yeah.
So we have to make that decision, and that's why we are going to ask you on our event as well, is that 60 days is way more than enough, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the depreciation rate here, you're losing money by day 35 or 40. You're starting to lose equity by then. So
yeah,
if you go past 60, you don't have to have, I mean, I'll allow a car, the right car, to stick around a little bit longer, right? If you have that Porsche or that specific lifted truck here, there's certain cars, sometimes you do need to wait for the right buyer. And if you own that car still good, it's okay here and there. But I want less. Actually, I want no cars over 60 days old, but I wouldn't want more than 10% of my inventory over that threshold there.
And that are the buckets.
Yeah, because then because you're losing money. So our whole philosophy, the best time to make the most money on a car is when it's a fresh, right? It's a depreciating asset on top of the buildup of floor plan interest rates, right?
Yeah.
So it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
So if the best time to make the most money on a car is when it's fresh, we want to increase the amount of cars that we sell when it's fresh. Here, we try to make sure we focus on getting 60 to 70% of your sales out in the first 30 days. So if I sell 100 cars this month, I want at least 60 to 70 of those cars 0 to 30 days old. Now that leaves very few cars to be leaving after 30 days where there's no gross.
Yeah.
So if you want gross and volume, increase that fresh sale rate. So that's where it goes back to bucket management. If I look at 16 to 30-day-old cars, and let's say in that bucket, I have 20 cars sitting there in that bucket right now that are 16 to 30 days old. What we like to do is look at the last 2 weeks of your sale rate. Okay. Did I say 20 cars in that bucket? All right. So let's say if I have 20 cars that are 16 to 30 days old, and I go look at what sold over the last 2 weeks that was 16 to 30 days old, and let's say 5 cars sold out of that last 2 weeks that were 16 to 30 days old. Well, 2 weeks, I times that by 2 to get a full month. Remember, well, on our strategy, if you got 50 cars, let's sell 50 cars. You got 100 cars, let's sell 100 cars a month. So that's why I times it by 2. If in 2 weeks, 5 cars left, that means in 4 weeks, 10 cars will leave. I have 20 sitting there.
Yeah.
So currently I have 20 cars sitting there on pace to only sell 10. If I don't increase my sale rate on that age bucket, those cars are going to turn 31 to 45 days old. They're going to what we call bleed through to the next bucket.
Bleed through.
Yeah. And so that's where we go again. That's where we focus on, okay, do we just go in there and drop pricing to get the sale rate up? Or do we happen to have leads on those 16 to 30-day-old cars? And if we do, can we increase the contact ratio regardless of the age of the lead? And or if I don't have as many leads, do I have switches? Do I have people looking for similar cars in this age bucket? Yeah. And when I started earlier too, when I said that you can bucket up different things, you could do the same approach with price points or years. 2022s is a bucket, the year of 20. And so if I have 15 2022s on my lot, but I'm only on pace to sell 5 of them, then I got a problem. I got to increase my 2022 sale rates.
So you are making different buckets by aging cars on the lot, but also buckets by year, by the model year.
You can do year. You could do price points, 20 to 25 grand.
Yeah.
You could do. We also look at make. So if I have an example, if I have 20 Fords on my lot, but I'm only on pace to sell 15 Fords, well, then I got a Ford problem. I got a 2020 problem. I've got a 2025 problem. Now, here's the thing. We can also combine the way we do it. We can combine all that data. So imagine you have a 2020 problem. You have a Ford problem. You have a compact car problem, and you have a 20 to 25 grand problem. And then you happen to have a 2020 Ford Focus that was a 20 to 25 grand car. That car has like 4 things going against it. You're heavy in that year, you're heavy in that make, you're heavy in that segment, you're heavy in that price point. That car should stick out like a sore thumb on your lot that you got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And again, do I have leads and leads followed up with? Do I have switch people that can go from a Kia to this Ford? And instead of price should be the last lever you pull, the last thing you do after those steps.
As a last resort.
Yes.
Hey, but what are the best performing dealers do then?
Deze podcast wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door Marktplaats, Coldrip, Vindio en Used Car Controller.
What makes them special?
I would tell you it's everybody buys into the philosophy, but it's also top down. The dealer or the general manager, the head management team is involved in that process, or they're at least having input and keeping an eye on it. Because we do weekly calls with our dealerships, and if I just talking to the used car manager who his pay plan is not looking good this month, and I'm trying to get him more aggressive and start moving cars and dropping prices, maybe he's going to fight me on it and don't do it because he's not making much money, and that's going to make the situation worse. I can't force him to do it. It's his paycheck, his inventory. But if the dealer or the general manager's on that phone call and they say, no, we're doing this because I'm not having H cars 30 days from now, and so that's the best performing stores, is that everybody's bought in, and either the dealer has made enough emphasis that we're going down this road, and if you have a problem with it, you're no longer here.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't have to be involved in all the calls.
Yeah.
Or I do a call that I have a dealer that I only do one call still. The rest of my teams have been handling it. There are other calls, but I still do one. And that dealer is on that call, and he'll have 15 people, from the photo people that do photos to people that, and they don't miss a call. They stretch the whole hour out. If I'm done with what I want to talk about and there's still 5 minutes left, he'll say, hey, why don't we go check out this? So he maximizes everything out of the calls.
Yeah.
So those would be the top stores. And it doesn't matter if it's the last day of the month. That's the other thing here, last day of the month, sometimes they're like, hey, it's the last day of the month. Can we just skip this week's call? We're busy.
Yeah.
He'll have 10, 15 people on that call on the last day of the month. He don't care. And he'll stretch that whole hour out because they know they have to focus on it.
On the other hand, now we have a market in Europe, in the Netherlands, which is EV. It was always EV friendly, but now the EV is dropping like a stone. Nobody wants it anymore in the Dutch market. You see that used car inventory will stay longer. The market is not there anymore. The buyers are not there anymore. In the numbers we find normal for the last 2 years. Is the same happening in the US as well?
Yeah, that becomes here. It seems like it's a lot of political stuff too. I'll say, for example,
or you make everything political.
Well, yes and no. So here they've really depleted our manufacture of oil and stuff. These leases that the oil companies have to produce oil. The current administration has canceled all those leases. We've used about 75% of our oil reserve has been depleted. We're relying more on outside country oil supply, and so we were self-sufficient with our energy up until the current administration has cut a lot of that stuff off, because this current administration does want EV vehicle growth. So if it's harder and more expensive to get gas, it kind of forces you to then maybe look at the alternative electric. So it almost seems like it's done purposely to drive this electric car initiative. So that's where a lot of people take it, as far as the way I see people are, seeing what's happening. And it's really, so a lot of people will fight that, like, forget you, I'm still going to drive my, so that's happening. But also, I mean, there's a lot of cities and states here that have an electrical grid problem. California is a very big EV type market that really pushes for that, but they have what they call brownouts and blackouts. They have blackouts because electricity goes out, or brownouts where they really regulate your electricity and your usage of your air conditioner and stuff.
Yeah.
So how are we going to add another 500,000 electric cars to that grid that just can't handle it? That can't handle it. And so people are realizing that, and they're not liking it either. And I had a Ford store tell me that he did a 300-mile radius of his dealership, and there was over 2,000 Ford Mach-E's, which a Mustang, it's the electric Mustang. There's 2,000 of them sitting out there. And then he said that Ford built the Lightning, which is a Ford electric truck. And they're this dealership sells 20 new cars total, much less any electric truck. I think they've sold one in 6 months. Yeah. Ford's trying to shove 10 of those onto his lot. They said, we need you to take 10. If you take 10, we'll give you this. If you take, well, fine. If you won't take 10, I'll give you 5. And the dealer's like, I don't want any. I don't know. I sell 20 a month. How am I going to get 20 cars alone, much less 10 Lightning? So
that my bucket makes no sense anymore.
Yeah. So it's kind of, like I said, some of it seems political because they're making it hard for us to get oil and gas, and then some of and so they're trying to push that electric car initiative. But it's just, I see the cities, and I got to visit Madrid, Spain, and it's a tight, small city with tight, small roads and small cars, and if you live in that environment, that makes sense. Get an electric car. You don't need gas.
If
you're not going to have gas stations easily accessible in that.
But you don't have an outlet either.
True.
Because if everybody is living in an apartment, how do you? Because everybody's fighting for that one outlet out of the street, and then your turn is at 2:00 at night.
Yeah.
Right? To get, but we have the same political things in that sense that they want to promote the EV for the last years. So it was a boom. Now they are going to say now the market has matured, etc. It has to hold on by themselves, and then people are making the normal calculation. And when the subsidized is gone, then you are going back to ICE vehicles again.
Yeah.
And then we don't have a grid problem, but then we have a financial thing. If it's more expensive, then the environment goes out of the window.
Isn't it somewhere in Europe there where they're charging like whatever 15 cents or 15% or $15 a day if you're driving?
I think in Norway, because Norway has all the oil in the world, but sell it for the highest price, and then goes electric bananas for their own people. So,
and the people are like destroying the cameras and stuff. And now I just seen the headline today that they might be giving up on that program because they had like 50,000 people not paying the tax, the $15 a day or whatever it is to drive the electric vehicle or the gas vehicle. And then the cameras were capturing people and charging them the tax. And so all these people are going out and destroying the cameras. So like 1,000 cameras have got destroyed, and there's 50,000 people that refuse to pay the fee. And so the government's about ready to just give up on it and not even do it anymore.
No. Our government is very good in collecting taxes. That is good, and it goes all automatically. So in hindsight, very exciting that you are coming next year to our DCDW event. The dates we will announce shortly. You are going over to Belgium and to the Netherlands, and maybe you are going off to Germany as well, right?
I'd like to visit there. I have a heritage is drawn back there. Yes.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you for this conversation. Uiteraard hebben we volgende week weer een nieuwe aflevering met dezelfde missie. Samen de online automotive beter maken, met een andere gast. Thank you, Jasen, for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. See you soon.
See you soon. Nou, thank you.
Dank u wel voor het luisteren naar de DCDW-podcast van Paul de Vries met de missie om de online automotive beter te maken. Vond u deze podcast interessant? Abonneer dan meteen via Spotify, Soundcloud of iTunes. En deel deze podcast via LinkedIn met uw netwerk. De DCDW-podcast van Paul de Vries wordt mede mogelijk gemaakt door de volgende partners: Marktplaats, Goldrip, Carmen Automotive BDC, Used Car Controller, Vinnacles en tweedehands.be.